I'm a bad leftist. I haven't seen the Barbie movie. No, that makes you a good leftist. I'll just repeat what I put on my Letterboxd review. My apparently controversial take that the Barbie movie is fucking... It's feminism 101 that for some reason every leftist I know is pretending is some sort of ridiculously progressive, super awesome movie. And it's like, no, a corporation made the most garbo feminism 101 movie that ends, by the way, with a scene that defines a woman as someone who has a vagina and is fertile. And you are not a real woman if you don't fit into that category, according to the Barbie movie. But for some reason, all these, like, legitimate actual leftists, not liberals, are like, holy shit, Barbie is so progressive. Holy shit, this movie about the Mattel doll. Women. Oh, right. The film ends with a joke where she's going to see his gynecologist. I don't think it was played as a joke. I might be misreading it, but I don't think it was a joke. I think it was, like, meant to be a big emotional movie. She's no longer a plastic doll. The big thing now is she can have baby, because that's what women do. I'm so glad I'm not the only one who hated that movie. It had a whole evil detransition arc and everything. Yeah! And at the emo detransit, we're like, no, sorry, you gotta grow up and stop being so revolutionary and just live in the real world where Barbie is the path to women's liberation. Isn't there a trans doll? One of the actors is trans. Like, one of the actors who plays one of the Barbies, I think, is trans. But I might be wrong about that. I don't remember. They got a bunch of, like, Hollywood big names to deliver the message that men and women should be equal. I don't even know what the message was supposed to be. Like, because Barbie Land starts out with, like, men as second-class citizens. That's strange. Didn't see anything in the weather report about a storm today. Wolfgang, keep playing. Get pugged. It is unavoidable. Intruder alert. It's like that fairy tale. It is. It's just like that fairy tale. Okay, my assumption is I need to hit this. Let's research you. Robo-Pig. As the loyal mechanical minions of the Three Little Pigs, Robo-Pigs are programmed to attack any intruder who dares to enter the construction site. When powered by their beacon counterparts, Robo-Pigs are invincible. In these cases, go for the beacons first. There we go. Okay, easy enough, easy enough. Oh, fuck. I fucked it up. Okay, you know what? We will restoration. The police is a pig. It's Boars. Officer Boars. I enjoyed my time with the Barbie movie. I wasn't compelled much by the depth of what it had to do, and the extremely on-the-nose dialogue often failed throughout the film. I want to be clear, I'm not saying you're not allowed to like the film. If you enjoyed the Barbie film, I didn't. I thought it was pretty bad. But if you liked it, like, that's perfectly fine. And, like, if you took something away from it, then I didn't. That's also, like, you're not valid for enjoying a thing that I didn't enjoy, right? But I do take issue with the sort of the narrative around it being a, you know, progressive masterpiece. And, like, I know obviously Cynthia was joking when she said, I'm a bad leftist because I didn't watch it or whatever. I'm assuming that was a joke. I might be wrong. But it did just remind me of the weird narrative around, like, hey, this movie made by a corporation to sell toys. Like, ultimately, the goal of the Barbie movie is the same goal as the goal of the Transformers movie, right? They want to sell their toys. And you know, you can still like the movie, you know. Do you think we... Okay, I think we buckler barrage you. Fuck. Well, okay, Flaming Fury, I guess. Oh, and burn him, nice. Oh, he's... Okay, so he buffs his allies. Fire Breath you. And then... Can we kill you with the barrage? Sorry, chat. I don't mean to neglect you. I just got, like, hyper-focused on that fight. I think it speaks to our times that such a movie was considered progressive. I wouldn't even necessarily say that. I think it speaks to the level of, I guess you would call it, like, corporate brainwashing? Or, like, brand defending, Disney adulting, whatever? That, like, it's that thing where, like, the Marvel show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which, like, took the symbol for murdered and kidnapped indigenous peoples and turned it into a terrorist flag. And people will say that that was a woke show because and like progressive show or whatever because the main character is black. I think whoever said media literacy is dead earlier sort of hit the nail on the head, where people are more concerned with vibes than with what is actually being said. Billy, how do you say her last name? Had a pretty good song for the film. For Barbie? I don't remember any of the songs for Barbie other than the Ken one, because I remember I saw the Barbie film like a year after it came out. My wife and I watched it for like New Year's last year, I want to say. And I remember the hype around the Ken song. So when it finally came out, I was like, all right, this is gonna be like awesome, isn't it? And it was just the most nothing burger 30 seconds of a song I've ever heard. I was like, really, that? And the movie was bad because it tried to have a feminist lesson, but it failed to actually teach it well. Yeah. I just wanted to chime in and say, I love your videos, even if I don't have time to watch them. I'm glad to hear that. Please don't feel like obligated to watch stuff. But I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying it. The ones that you do feel the need and liking to watch. Hey! My main problems was being too characteristic. It seemed like they were actually ridiculizing the issue by making every single man evil or stupid. Yeah! And, the Will Ferrell character was also so confusing. Like, what were we, the audience, supposed to think about the Will Ferrell character? Will Ferrell versus Will Domesticated. But yeah, like, so his character was, like, evil for half of the movie, and then, like, he catches up to them, and he's like, oh, actually, I think Barbie and Mattel is great and good and perfect, actually. Is the Danny Doyle letterbox public? It is. I made a community post, when I first made it last week that linked it, but I can... Hold on, I can link it again. Also, Thomas Clark, thank you for the $5 donation. Wait, did that not get picked up by the alert box? I didn't see it. Oh, I think it was just quiet compared to the music. Thank you so much for the $5 Unicorn Union's dues donation. I missed that. I'm so sorry. When I was hyper-focused on the battle. Bad streamer. Let me grab my letterbox. It is, I guess, an insight into my weird and shitty movie taste. Most of the movies that I reviewed on it, I gave non-meme ratings to, although I did give Morbius 5 stars. I should clarify, I do not actually think Morbius is 5 stars. I explained my ratings for a lot of them, but some of them were like meme explanations. So sorry about that. Jurassic Park reviews. I have not reviewed Jurassic Park. I've kind of just reviewed whatever movies I think about. Maybe we'll do a Danny Doyle letterbox stream at some point where I review what you want. If you hate A Christmas Story, I have no qualms with you. I have not actually seen A Christmas Story. What is A Christmas Story? Which one is that? I assume, presumably, it's, you know, it's on Christmas. Oh, wait, I have seen A Christmas Story. I saw it when I was sick. That's You'll Shoot Your Eye Out, isn't it? You'll shoot your eye out. You'll shoot your eye out. It's that one. It strikes me as very likely that it is just, like, a bunch of sort of... Oh, he also, like, doesn't he fight Santa in the mall and, like, shit his pants in the ball pit? Or is that Jingle All the Way? I might be mixing it up with Jingle All the Way. My favorite Christmas Story scene is the Santa one. Okay, so he does fight Santa in the mall and then shit his pants in the ball pit. Is what I'm hearing. The movie tries to have like a billion plot lines and there's no focus, no order. We're just doing this now until credits. Yeah, I think that's kind of the point, though. It's not really a story so much as like a slice of life, right? A bunch of little, you know, episodic snippets of, you know, a simpler time or whatever. To be clear, like, you don't have to like it. That sort of thing, you know, it's definitely not for everyone, but it's not trying to tell like a singular story, like with all the stuff being interconnected or whatever. It's almost like you know, an old sitcom or whatever with you watch a bunch of episodes and they all just, you know, they tell different stories instead of being serialized. I think that's neat. They play child abuse for laugh when the mom beats her kids after being accused of teaching Ralphie fuck. And we hear it over the phone, and I don't know, I hate that. Yeah, that's awful. That doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me that was in a movie in, like, what was it, the 80s, the 70s, the 90s? Heck, I wouldn't have been surprised early 2000s, to be honest. I would unfortunately also actually not be surprised if a movie that came out today had child abuse as a joke. I mean, fuck, no, I don't even have to say I wouldn't be surprised. Do y'all remember The Umbrella Academy? Talk about a monumental fall off. But season 3 of The Umbrella Academy has an entire arc where, child neglect. Haha, child neglect. Isn't that funny? With, number 2's child. I never watched Umbrella Academy. It's so frustrating because the first season of Umbrella Academy is actually, like, really poignant about child abuse and neglect, and, it has a lot of, like, interesting and I think relevant things to say about abuse and neglect. Like, there's a conversation that they have, because the children were all, their now deceased father was very abusive, training them to try to be superheroes. And there's a conversation that they have with their that number 1 has with the caretaker fairly early on. And the caretaker, who's a monkey, Pogo, says, you know, he loved you in his own way. And number 1 says, yeah, he did love me in his own way, and that's the problem. And I just think that's, like, so, like, a 2-line exchange that is so, telling of just sort of the writers at that time understood much more about child abuse than when in season 3, haha, play for laughs, how much, you know, he's trying to ditch his son now. The girl's trying to ditch her son now. Like, isn't this neglect very funny? That they don't pay attention to the son and then he ends up getting in trouble and getting hurt and stuff. Isn't that funny? Yeah, that's the problem. OMG, cool. Because, like, so often abuse is framed as, like, a parent not loving their child. And that can be the case. But often it is not. Often it is abuse despite the fact that the parent loves the child. I love child neglect jokes. Yeah, it was not good. And then, of course, season 4, I guess spoilers for the end of the Umbrella Academy, but if you care about the end of the Umbrella Academy, this is your spoiler warning. But season 4 ends with, in order to save the world, the reveal is that in order to save the world, all of the main characters who have been abused and traumatized throughout their entire life, and some of them suicidal, some of them alcoholic or drug addict or various other things that come from the trauma and abuse, right? And they all very much have, you know, the trauma has led them to the self-hatred and stuff, right? The conclusion is they all need to die in order to save the world because, and I swear to God I'm not making this up, they are not supposed to exist. They were never supposed to exist. And so the only way for them to fix this apocalypse that is their fault for existing because they weren't supposed to exist is to all collectively gather together and die. And they gather together and die holding hands, and it's presented as some sort of noble sacrifice. And, like, you just know there was some sort of major shift in the writing team in between seasons, because it sounds like abuser talk. Yeah, and, like, that's the thing, is, like, I don't think that it was intended to be abuser talk. I think it was just not recognizing the implications of it, because the idea was that, like, they're jumping between multiverses, and, basically their father and their dead mother had, like, done some experiment thing to cause them to... They were all immaculate conceptions. Like, basically, the premise is, around the world, like, 37 women who were not pregnant all gave birth at the exact same time, right? And they were... And we learn later that the reason was, like, the parents actually caused that with, like, alien magic experiment stuff. I forget. The lore gets bonkers. But, so the idea was that, like, you know, the reason that all these apocalypses keep happening is the universe is trying to correct itself to eliminate something that wasn't supposed to come into existence, because he's not supposed to create life, right? So very basic, like, sci-fi plot. Like, you can see a lot of properties doing something similar to that. Like, the universe is trying to self-correct. Time travel stories do that all the time, where it's like, you know, you travel back in time, save someone who was supposed to die, and then the universe conspires and kills them Final Destination style. Not terrible on its own. However, making it be the objects of the story who were not supposed to exist are these traumatized children who are, you know, because of their abuse, oftentimes suicidal, oftentimes addict, oftentimes all that stuff. Like, they're centering the wrong... They're taking a generic trope and then applying it to a situation that unfortunately implies, yeah, exactly, don't tell traumatized people they're not meant to exist. I think, like, I don't think it's malice on the part of the writing team, I think it's carelessness. And that doesn't make it any less gross, but it does mean that, like, you know, I think intention is something that matters, even if the impact is still disgusting. It's a negative thought that I actually have when I'm depressed. I think that's a thing that a lot of people can relate to. That's fucked up. How did that even get past the proofreaders? It's so frustrating because, like, I would love to recommend Umbrella Academy, aside from the fact that Netflix is super expensive, but, yo ho, a bottle of rum, all that stuff, right? But, like, if you want to watch Umbrella Academy, watch the first 2 seasons. They're brilliant. And then stop. Maybe watch season 3 if you, like, still want a little bit more but are okay with it going downhill and also, like, are cool with skipping the scenes with the child neglect jokes. But do not watch season 4. Not, like, because, like, the ending is awful in terms of the implications, but the writing also just plummets downhill. I canceled Netflix 4 price hikes ago. Did y'all hear about Netflix's 2025, end of 2025 ad? They put an advertisement on TV where they spoiled every hit show of 2025. Like, literally. They would show the show and have, like, text that says, this character dies in episode 7. Or have text that says, you know, this person... They showed a murder mystery and had text that said, this is the killer. They literally just, it was 2 minutes of just spoilers for every big show, movie, everything that they've released this year. And it's like, what is the fucking, and their argument, their idea they're saying is, we're getting rid of the old to make room for the new, because there's going to be so much good new stuff this year. But it's like, their shows, yeah, their shows, all the Netflix shows. But it's like, not everyone watches everything as soon as it comes out. Like, I actually have a rule that unless I trust a show's creator, I'm not going to watch something until it's approaching its final season. Because I call it the Game of Thrones rule, because I don't want to commit 20 years of my life to the ending of Game of Thrones. Right? And it's also just, I don't want to wait 3 years between seasons. Like, I'm not gonna binge something all in an afternoon, but if I watch a season of television and season 2 comes out 3 years later, By the time season 2 comes out, I've probably forgotten most of the stuff from season 1, so I have to do a rewatch anyway, at which point, why not just wait and do all the initial watches next to each other, right? I imagine being a creative person who is published at networks. Yeah, it's the fucking complete disregard for the idea of the art for the art's sake. Like, they just want... They just want the hype. They just want the hype. I'm imagining binging One Piece after it's done. How many episodes is One Piece now? It's like 1,000? No, my home, it's gone. Gee, bro, you sure made a stink about my house made from straw, but sticks don't seem to do much better. Quiet, you. We gotta warn a little bro about these punks. I'm sure they're coming for him next. Go it up. Just make sure you punks can't follow me. Oh, dang, this elevator's busted! We gotta follow them up there. How do we fix this? I suppose if my other unicorn pals are here, we could repair this thing. Here, the big burly pig dropped his elevator key. Won't do much good for this elevator, but it'll work on the other one by the entrance. Great. We'll go get the other unicorns and bring them to you. We are currently at 1,155 episodes. Jesus. Consume product, move on to the next one. Yeah. No, I mean, Netflix television shows are not art anymore. Or at least they're not, you know, considered art by the people who make, not by the people who make them, by Netflix, right? I don't know that I've seen, I was just thinking about it. I don't know that I've seen any of the big Netflix shows this year. Netflix thinks of their movies and shows as content. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, we're talking about it as Netflix because, like, Netflix is the one that did this most recently, but I imagine most other streaming services are also, like, in the same bag of, like, you know, Netflix, we have the internal documents about, like, second screen. In case you're not aware, an internal document about an internal document from Netflix, I think either leaked or just was, like, straight up released on purpose, where they talked about designing stuff for second screen experience. They intentionally want shows to, like, keep repeating the same information, so that people who are on their phone and not paying attention to the show will be able to keep up. Repeating what they say makes the show straight up worse. If you're actually paying attention to it, it does. But if you're on your phone, or, like, watching it on your second monitor while you're, like, playing a video game or whatever, then you need the repeated information because you're not internalizing everything. You're not paying enough attention to.